Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneur. Yes, page, stage, they come together in entrepreneurship. You may have a solo book out, you may have a contributory chapter in a book, you may have blogs regularly. If you're an entrepreneur, you're on socials, aren't you? And what's that if it's not published work? Check that box. What about the stage thing then? Because a lot of my audience go, oh, public speaking, I can't do that. My question is, what's your definition of a stage? If you can have a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you can do a podcast just like we're doing today. So come on, come and join us. Jump on. Let's have you as a guest. Anyway, today I have the joy and pleasure of introducing you to Rory Lemon. Now, yes, that is his name, Rory Lemon. Rory is based in the UK. I know about that much about him. He knows an awful lot more. So I'm going to pass the buck over to you, Rory, and say, tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to be where you are now.
Wow. Yeah, thank you so much. I love that intro. Thanks, Wendy. Yeah. Uh, well, okay. So my neurodiverse brain immediately starts to, like a how's it going kind of question. My brain goes, so I've had to practice, a lot as well about what someone actually asking me, and because divergent thinking is literally a tap that's just running, and
Yes.
it's great for when it's in positive mode, but if it's in a negative mode it just finds more problems, or even if we're not looking. So that's where
Just audience, just to be clear, I did that on purpose so that Rory could show that his brain doesn't think quite the same way as, quotes, neurotypicals. If you want me to
excellent.
be more specific, Rory,
No,
tell us.
it's cool.
Go.
I thought I'd set the stage there as
Yes,
well.
absolutely, which is why I left it for you. Go for it.
Excellent. Yeah, so I discovered I was dyslexic when I was 33, and that's, for someone my age, that could potentially be quite normal now,
Mm,
for some dyslexics, because dyslexia isn't necessarily a um, just what they used to think it was in terms of the, you know uh, problems with reading or problems with writing. It's a language and processing problem. So that means when I learn something and I imprint it in my mind, I'm able to repeat it back really easily. If it's small, tiny little bits, like, here and there. So back in school, I had a massive resentment against what was perceived as intelligence, because that's what it was regarded was, hey, if you can memorize this and get it out there, language, just writing. All exams based on writing.
yep.
So, when they brought in the coursework, that was also writing, but I could reflect back on it. So, my grades went 5 grades up when they introduced the coursework, 50% coursework, for the English language. I went from a 1% higher than a U grade, uh, to a D, which is one grade less than passing with a C. So either way, I was really frustrated with that system, because
I'm
it
going to
was,
stop you for a second here,
yeah.
Rory. You and I both know this grading system because we grew up in the UK. For our global audience, it used to go from A to F and then U, which was the bottom of it was unclassified. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what the U stood for. So what Rory's explaining here is he's gone from the unclassified up to a D, and it was A to C that were passes.
Yeah. Thanks for the clarification. So you can see how I felt misunderstood
Yeah.
all the way through school, and then my subconscious then started to look out for where I could be rejected in society and institutions and the media, and where creativity, having a creative, practical sense, that's what I took. taught myself. I taught myself to believe that that's the type of person I was, and I was not an assertive business type that could sell things and could come up with my own ideas and sell it, because I had a resentment about money, about intelligence, and about I played guitar for like 8 years non-stop, um, to regulate my nervous system in a lot of ways, because I loved it, but I also had a vision for just doing that and just stuck with that, which proves a lot of things around focusing what you focus on, and will grow and get better at without that self comparison going along in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just didn't care. I just wanted to do it because it felt so good, regardless of whether it looked or felt technically, or where it was actually comparing
Yeah.
in that time. So I just studied that, fanatically, and that's where I just got my fanaticisms from, and that's where it's gone from. I went through a period of psychosis in my early 20s
Okay.
because I was so frustrated,
Yeah.
and the 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 the, the struggle was, it was like a loop of paranoid thoughts and feelings, and I kind of felt like I was broken, and I had this thread that it wasn't real, and I was kind of like hanging on to it, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like being on a roller coaster I couldn't get off.
Well,
So
as you were saying earlier with the guitar, it was what you were focusing on, and therefore what you focus on, you get more of, and that's the loop you got into. Totally understandable and
mm,
hard.
mm,
Yeah. Well
yeah,
done for breaking out of it, mate. Well done.
yeah, um, I was very lucky. Extremely well. It's not even luck, really, is it? I've realised that again, when we're focusing and choosing what we're creating and becoming
Mm.
responsible for, that's important to remember, as well as the what seems like can be luck from synchronicities that come through. But that was the point about the psychosis, was if you can see positive synchronicities come into your life because of things that you're focusing on and wanting to grow, if it gets into a negative cycle, that also starts to reconfirm those things. The subconscious will find evidence for that too. So that's what I got to learn through that whole process. And I was extremely thankful for my mother, who'd done a lot of research around her own managing her own health through natural methods at the time. This is quite um, revolutionary at the time, in the 80s, for doing this, because it was going against a lot of grains. There was not much information. It was all very esoterical and Eastern, or
Yes.
wherever it was coming from, very alternative and very probably not mainstream whatsoever. So it took real physical effort to learn something like that,
This was in the
to
days
search
before we had Google.
it. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Yeah. So she was just learning to reflexology, and I had 14 weeks of it. So not
Were you a guinea
only
pig?
not only do I have like a transformational woo, I got loads better. I got better in 14 weeks.
Amazing, amazing.
So, so 14 weeks later, I was in positive shock that there was none of this stuff coming to me anymore.
Mm.
Or this negative intuition, or whatever you want to call it, that was actually happening. That cycle. I was I was then in the situation of what we could call PTSD, where
Yeah,
there's a where there's a, a, an anxiety that it might come back rather
might
than
come
it
back.
was
Yes.
actually there.
Yeah.
So I was like in this push pull from there on. That
Mhm.
was like when I was 22. So 22 onwards, I was like, this is incredible. What else is possible to change? That was my mantra
Mm.
going forwards in my background, without me realizing. Without me realizing, I was kind of had this feeling of curiosity, and also devout wanting to share the experience without knowing how to talk. Again, bearing in mind that I still didn't know how to communicate with words.
Mhm.
In so so I would I could one-to-one conversations where there's call and response kind of information being shared and going on for walks and talks with friends, that was all fine. But I still was like, didn't know how to consolidate all this information, or have the courage, or feel like I had the courage to actually say, hey, this is all amazing and this is what's happened to me, and have that story. I just didn't practice it because I didn't believe I knew how to. And that's the point. It's about belief systems there, isn't
There
it?
was not just that though, Rory, was there? Because the you said that the landscape, if you will, at that time, the cultural landscape was, that's a load of fill in the blanks. So if you were about to fess up to your mates that you were into this woo-woo stuff, golly, there's a big risk of rejection in there, isn't there?
Yeah, very much so.
Ah,
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? That's why a lot of the time we want to get on stages or create that. That's why I wanted to create. I realized after a long period of time, fast forwarding a little bit, that I could go live on Facebook and just talk about what I wanted, because it was a monologue, and I could actually start practicing, sharing all of that.
right, right.
So, or just doing my moving and breathing movements without having to think about practicing the story or talking, and just doing different ones, either the movement practices or the talking, and it must have been quite funny to look back on the different.
Did you keep any of them? I mean, I know that Facebook have been gradually deleting.
Yes, I just recently downloaded them all, actually. Yeah, yeah. So
What have you
there's
done with them? Have you put them up on a YouTube channel?
I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to.
Good, good.
It'd be like a interesting archive, because most people just post the new latest thing, but I could be like, here's my
Well,
previous story.
audience, this is the thing. Putting yourself out there can be very, very challenging. But if you have a Google account, and let's face it, most of us do, you also have a YouTube channel because they're all part of the same thing. You can upload as many videos as you want. You don't have to publish them for the world to see. There are three things you can either put them live to publish, you can put them to unlisted, in which case only you and whoever you share the URL with can see them, or you can have them as private, which is just for you. So you can actually develop your own, as you say, archive, and over time you can benchmark your own progress. I mean, I'll fess up that pretty much all of mine from 7, 8 years ago are live. So you can go back and check in the old days when I used to look down, because that's where the face was. And looking back on them, I keep going, Wendy, look, where's the camera? Up here. It's things like that you can track your own progress. And there's
Yeah,
nothing better than to see your own progress. So yeah, go for it, Rory. Whether you decide to share them to the world altogether, maybe drip feed them, or just keep them for you. Yeah. Cool, cool. I want to
yeah.
take you back in time for a minute. We've talked about how you started to get you onto your speaking, but you were saying about the dyslexia being a real challenge for you, that the written word, so that it was that being able to transfer the sounds to something that's written, and vice versa, the written into the sound in your head and making sense of it.
Mm.
So have you done much in the way of writing?
Yes.
Tell us about how
Uh,
you got into your writing journey then. What prompted you in
o-
the first place?
okay. So yeah, the story continues. Um, yeah. So after my what felt like miraculous recovery, um, I got into the massage. I got into
Okay.
massaging because I wanted to help others with with their mind and body. But at that time, no one knew really about how to control the mind, or or you know, at that point, again, it would be going into stuff that
It
well,
wasn't
just didn't
mainstream.
did. I didn't know it was possible either. So I just thought, okay, the access points through the body. So if you calm the body down, you calm the mind down. So that's what I started to do, was massage, because I wanted to
Mm.
show that it was possible to change stress, and at
Mm-hmm.
least that was the practical way that I saw how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for 8 years. Again, it went from guitar playing to massaging with my hands, and had to give up the guitar at points, but I started doing
Oh,
DJing.
you definitely have to take those nails down, wouldn't you? So from your, sorry, right hand nails, if you were plucking, they would definitely have to come down. Mm.
Yes, yes. Um, yeah, so yeah, so the yeah, 8 years of fanatical work with that, and it was also the RSIs. I couldn't do
Yes.
both. I couldn't do the music production I was doing on the laptop, and as well as the playing, as well as
Mm-hmm.
the massage all at
Mm-hmm.
once. Plus, also, I didn't know how to switch off and just love
Mm-hmm.
it in life. So I was fanatically, and this is where the undiagnosed but potential of talking to so many people, knowing about ADHD and also autism, and where that ADHD traits are also in affecting me. In the background. So,
Mm.
but yeah, so the massage for 8 years, then I just was burning out physically. So I was burning out with RSIs, even though I'd stopped doing the guitar, and that
That's
drove me to do.
repetitive strain injury, by the way, audience, if you're not familiar with that acronym.
Thank you for sharing. And so repetitive strain injury being that, yeah, couldn't use my wrist for periods of time, and I was burning out physically,
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to make that more efficient, and also have people want to pay more money for more efficient work too. So I in that time I had osteopathy
Okay.
from a friend mentor, and really saw the benefit in that. So I was like, I'm going to take. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. But I'm going to apply. So it took me full time. It took me full time study to do a part time course
Yeah.
just to get through the access point to get into the into the into the 4 year master's level degree of osteopathy. But I did it,
Mm.
and then they covered all the information in that year in 2 weeks, and it kept on getting more and more and more and more and more and more detailed. So you could see how I absolutely insisted on the dyslexia test, even though I came up as mild on the little computer screen, and uh, it came up as mild, and they said, "Oh, a neurotypical person on a tired day can come up as mild, so we don't want to, like, you know, uh, pay for that test for you." And I was like, I couldn't do it privately at the time because I was on such a budget. So I just went. I insisted twice before they did it, and then I got qualified in dyslexia, uh, and so I call it qualification because it's a step. It's a step to knowing something. It's just the same, it's just the same as taking an exam. So why call it a diagnosis when you can call it a qualification? Um,
Ah, yeah. Purely from a point of interest, when you were doing your osteopathy, had they already got into including the meridians at that point?
no, no.
Oh, right, because I know they're now introducing that because a lot of osteopaths are doing needling, acupuncture.
Dry needling.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
doing full
Okay,
acupuncture.
okay, okay. Wow. I
Mm.
get maybe that's a elective part of it. I don't
It
know.
could be,
Yeah, it'd be
could
interesting.
be, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Cool. Uh, so
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
got through.
I took you off your
That's
train of
all
thought.
right. That's okay.
You were qualifying as a dyslexic.
Yeah, qualified as dyslexic, so I could qualify as osteopath. And my personality test changed from the first year to the third year as well. So I immediately discovered more that I was more extroverted than introverted. So I was an extrovert trapped in what I believed was an introverted body. It's actually ambiverted. So I don't know whether you've heard of that, but yeah, ambiverted. Yeah, so we can adapt to situations very easily as long as we don't get overexposed for extra duration of time, either with people or without people. So so I go a bit stir crazy unless I'm on a fixated project. I'll go and walk around town just to be feeling
Around
regulated.
people.
Yeah,
Mm.
and nature and all that sort of stuff. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so yeah, it's fascinating to see
Mhm.
what happens with personality changes, um, and
Is that where
that
you started to work on? I'm going to pull you in because otherwise we could go down a very long rabbit hole, and I'm aware of our time here. So tell us about your writing. Where did you get into actually writing?
yes, so that's yes, so that was the dissertation
Ah, of course, yes.
in the and that's what went even further. So in the third year, I was only just starting to do the dissertation, but it was all of the practicing of the writing and the
Yes.
reading and the talking that actually started to challenge that part of the brain, which then got better at it, quicker at it, and started to ease my way into or or challenge my way into the writing processes, and I absolutely loved it, even though
Sure.
there was that moment of trying to get to the deadline and
Yes.
having that real real urge to walk away from the
Yeah.
screen, the desk, I would just feel this overwhelm, and then I'd have to come away and just relax for about 5 seconds, switch down my nervous system, and then come back to it. And that's the sort of kind of stuff I love to help others with now. That getting out procrastination into getting things done on on the time that they want to. So yeah, so
Well,
that's what really
it's
that.
kind of down regulating the overwhelm, isn't it?
Mm,
If you can break that vagal overdrive,
yeah.
then you can reset that and then go, okay, let's do this again and get back into it. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
you've had your dissertation, you've passed. Is it just a straight pass when the masters?
it was yeah, there's only a pass or distinction. So
Pass
yeah,
and distinction.
I passed. Yeah.
Well done. I only got as far as my bachelor's. I did do one module of a master's, but then things got in the way. Called life.
It it was actually it was a half masters in terms of it was masters level, but not a full 25,000 page dissertation. But
Right.
but it was masters level complexity of the information for
Got
a
it.
whole year. For a whole
Yes.
year.
It's heavy going. It's heavy going.
Yeah.
Did you find, excuse me, audience, this is a purely personal stuff here because I too have a background in massage. Did you find that the anatomy physiology stuff helped you from your massage with the osteopathy? I mean, I know that it's more structural and skeletal, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it definitely did. It's all about the sort of the finer movements being really more specific, technical intention and placement of body weight, and the difference between like trying to um, put like push something really heavy rather than hold onto it and just fall with your weight and sort of move it with your whole body weight, like just grip and then relax and move
there's a lot of
rather than
ergonomics, isn't there?
rather
And
than
you
trying to
just
pinch something and pull it with two fingers. So it's that thing of it really does channel a lot of great uh, it's forces without being forceful.
yes, yes,
It's yeah, yeah.
got you, got
Like levers on a door. Imagine if you
you.
had to just pick up a door and move it out the way to move through it, rather than just a hinge. The hinges just hold it in place, so it's much more easier.
Big doors swing on little hinges, as they say. Love it, thank you. So that was when you started writing. Now you've actually got a book out, haven't you?
I've got a book out, and I've written a book in my own way, and
Oh,
I've
oh,
written a chapter of a book that's much more left to right, kind of neurotypical.
okay. So
Mm.
which came first?
The my own book.
Your own book. That's curious. So you did your own book first, and then sort of Stuck yourself in the neurotypical boundary. Gosh,
Y-
well done.
yeah,
Tell us
this is
about
the
your
book.
personal book, Neurocreative Recollections.
Yes,
Oh,
and
the pros and cons. The pros. Oh, love it. And cons of intentional brain bending brilliance. Volume 1.
yes, and
There's
I've committed to
obviously
like 2 more
coming.
volumes as well in the back. So
There's obviously more to come. That's fabulous. And I love the fact that you've done your pros and cons.
yes.
As we were talking about being nerdy with words before
Oh
we hit
yes,
record.
and that's what I call it prolexia, because some people love words and I
Yes.
love writing. I love words. It's often divergent, playing around with things and grabbing hold of stuff and seeing what sticks together, and
Yeah.
that sort of automated creativity that's happening, and that's
Yes.
the wordsmithing that goes on. So yeah, I've written poems and and uh, and excerpts of my mind that have some kind of inspirational twist on them to
Yeah.
change perspective as well.
Well,
So
that's
it's
the joy, isn't it? Because so many of us neurotypicals, and I'm kind of, well, we're all on the spectrum to some extent. It just depends on how far, where it impacts you on your daily life. Um, my experience has been that the people that I have worked with who've been out and out on the spectrum, no questions asked, have given me something to think about and a different perspective. And when I've managed to persuade them to think that there could be an alternative perspective to theirs, and believe me, that's taken some negotiation with one or two of them, then it's been great because we've been able to see a different slant on things. And that I feel is one of the joys of communication, in being able to go, oh, you see it that way. As long as you can suspend your way as being the only way, I think it's
mm,
wonderful that we can get to have a different view on things. So yeah.
thank you. Yeah, great reflections there. And in
Well,
fact, as soon as I said reflections, um, I flicked past this one. As soon as I said reflections, I saw the word reflect, so that's why I thought it's a good sign to say. But as you attract and therefore contract what you reflect, as a little, and it's got a little nice picture of the moon. All the pictures in there as well that are photos I've taken
they're all your
uh,
photos.
in real life.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. So that's available. How do we get hold of that? Is it on Amazon? Is it through your website? How's that book available?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Amazon.
Neuro Creative Recollections. Yeah, it's on Amazon,
Would
Kindle,
you?
and
I'm
paperback.
sure. I'm sure, audience. We're going to have the link in the show notes,
Yeah.
so go check it out. Okay.
Yes.
Audience, if you don't already know this podcast, we have dynamic show notes. What that means is when I have guests who come back to me and go, I've got a program coming up, I've got a launch of this, that, and the other, they come back to me, we do a quick flippy round with the show notes, therefore they are dynamic, and I do a quick blast on the socials going, do you remember that conversation I had with the fascinating Rory Lemon? Well, he's got this coming up. And if
Oh,
Rory comes
amazing.
back to me and says, I've got a new book coming out, I say, okay, let's do another podcast and tell us all about this book. So that's the way From Page to Stage works. Okay, love it. So Rory,
Amazing.
you've told us about how you got into your writing. The speaking kind of came in amongst that before, as you were explaining about your different perspective on life, and still do.
The speaking came a bit more kicking and screaming, let's say. The 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 writing was also something I would not have got around to doing with the dissertation work, but and actually writing that only came about because I was mentoring someone in there with their ADHD and chronic health conditions, and it just so happened that they were a book mentor, so it was kind of like this interplay of well, you've helped me so much, let me help you, and and um and in 90 days I did all of it. This is all completely all designed.
Very good.
So yeah, obviously a bit of a fanatical thing around design as well that not really, again, I've not really explored all these things, but yeah. So coming back to that approach is like, it's just amazing what can happen when we're not making ourselves wrong at whatever stage we get to. We're learning things, and that piece that we're learning may come up years down the line. But if it's like, oh, I'm learning this, but I don't know why I'm doing it, or I'm frustrated because I'm not able to get that result that I want from the learning, that's
Mm.
just it's there. It's all there as a map to flow through. You know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm thinking back, audience, if you don't already know, my background is in speech pathology, specializing in working with adults with autism and or intellectual disability. One of the gentlemen I worked with told me flat out he was broken. And I said, no, you're not. Please do not use that word ever again about yourself. But he was explaining to me that all through school, he'd been told of all the things he couldn't do. And that was the focus of all the things he couldn't do. Now, this is a gentleman who was at a prestigious university doing a double major in maths and physics. Way over my head. And he's telling me he's broken. I said, I have not understood a single word you said in the last 10 minutes. He said, but that's basic maths. So it's basic to you, but it didn't to me. Now he's broken. Oh, I said, would you have said I was broken? No. Would you say I'm broken now? Oh, he said, that's a loaded question. I said, it is, isn't it? Can you see where I'm going with this one? Do not call yourself broken, sir. You have brilliant skills in one direction. I have good skills, brilliant skills in another. Let's learn from each other, shall we? That's when we're really connected. But yeah, the thing that we have going all through school are what we can't do. And
Yeah.
that's the focus. And I think that's so sad. But that's an entirely different conversation we could do.
Yeah. So, but yes, thanks for sharing that. It's it's that thing of going from we got the book. I got the book out because of a lot of coaching I'd had as well. So that was mentoring at that point, but there's
Yep.
the gap between um the speaking was learning, wanting to learn the marketing,
Right.
in order to actually put my mentoring in out in the world. And then that was when I started to discover about what coaching can do. I thought, oh, coaching is like just telling, teaching and helping someone to actually get something through a mentorship process. I didn't understand about the coaching as in all the curious questions and drawing out someone else's potential that they realize themselves, and that's the bit that really helped me, and I've not been afraid to put myself. That's one thing it is, even though that's probably why I was so paranoid and stuff, because I was not afraid to be afraid, uh, underneath in some way, shape or form. I put myself in particular positions all the way through my life to learn, realizing it's to learn something,
Yes.
no matter what I'm actually experiencing.
Mm.
So, so that whole process of, oh yeah, I'm going to feel the fear, and press the button and go live, was something that I was taught about to try and do. So I just started doing that in 2017 or something like that. Was my first Facebook
Mm.
Live, and I was like, speaking from a script, and it was like, oh, hi there, how's it going? My name's Rory.
I'm
And it,
30 now. How
yeah,
different is that? Fantastic. So, Rory, you're obviously you're continuing to do your lives, aren't you?
yes,
And
yes.
what platform do they go out on?
I go on live on Facebook still,
Right.
and uh, I had a bit of trouble with LinkedIn recently where I couldn't do it from an event, but I think you can. I've still got the link and I can go live generally. I just
Okay.
haven't got into the habit of that So
Right.
it's mainly it's mainly Facebook, and then I download them off Facebook, and
Okay. Okay.
we'll be putting them on
So,
YouTube.
I mean, do you use Instagram? Do you use TikTok? Where is your audience? I would say, where does your audience hang out?
Mainly Facebook, and I've got a Facebook group as well. So um, that I go live into every week as well. So there's the Facebook, and then there's the my audience. I do use Instagram, but it's more of a space to just share the prominent posts that come up that are popular and stuff, and
Do you use
LinkedIn.
YouTube at all?
YouTube, I did as for a while when I was doing the movement. Call it lymphatic health exercises.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing these movements for um, moving and breathing practices over in the pandemic when I saw the need for like being able to just go and do some solitary exercise that
Mhm.
wasn't forced as a sort of workout kind of thing.
What I'm going to suggest to you is that, as you know, your Facebook lives get deleted quite quickly.
Mhm.
You can go, if you do them, if you actually start life on Zoom, you can broadcast directly to YouTube.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
You used to be able to go from Zoom into Facebook, but Zoom and Facebook had a bit of a tiff and they don't talk to each other anymore.
Mm.
So you will still have to, if you're going to do them live onto Facebook, you will still need to download them and then pop them up onto your YouTube channel. The reason I'm mentioning that is because YouTube is now second only to Google in terms of the search engine. And
Yeah.
face it, they both belong to the same company, so there's a surprise. But my point is that a lot of people love the visual stuff. So they will now, instead of going straight for text, they will go for the visual and look up on Google. So if they put in neurodiverse, if you do a lot of stuff consistently on YouTube, you are going to be much higher up in the SEO listings.
Cool.
So just a
I think I'm ready for that now. Yeah, so it's a case of just slowing down on one thing and opening up the space and getting into the habit of the other, which is yeah, it's about what I love to help people with as well, isn't it? So it's like how to set up that day and that habit and that project so that it's focused on. And so that's my challenge, is to do my own work.
The thing is that you are a walking example of what you talk about.
Yes.
And how much more of a credibility factor can you get from that? I'm it.
Thank
Watch me. I'm actually living it out. So yeah, brilliant. Okay. So we've
Amazing.
talked about your writing, we've talked about your speaking, we've mentioned your book. Have you got anything else that you're percolating at the moment?
Ooh, uh, yeah. So
Volume
I'm
two?
doing um, that's that I could do probably in about 30 days, because I've got that that
Got lots
that
of
that
material.
that was a backlog. That was from the first time I started writing some poems and things to in 2007, and playing around with words, and then the coaching insights and journey that came up until the end of 2021. So I've got all, and it's only got more. I've got 4 more years worth of like uh, stuff that I've written down, and so and it's
Excellent.
been non-stop. So yeah, that's where I've actually developed a year-long coaching program as part of the health and wealth, and what I call stealth, which is who to talk to and who not to talk to, and stay on target and imagine that target, and kind of stick to it, kind of thing.
Yes.
So sticking to it for heart-centered neurodiverse creatives. Um,
Sticking to
y-
it for heart-centered neurodiverse creatives.
yeah,
Great. So that's your niche, and that's who you like to work with. Is it particularly men, women, both?
I actually have a bit of I'm more drawn to more feminine characters, as it were, but I don't I don't segregate because
Yeah.
I find that dialogue, yeah, it's a dialogue that between masculine and feminine is useful to know what's useful and when to either go more inward or more outward, to put it
We're
lightly. And
talking the energy rather than the gender here, aren't we?
yeah, because with genders, I think yes, there's biological differences, but it does not make any difference to how we manage our minds.
Mm-hmm.
And when we manage our minds, we manage our feelings. When we manage our feelings, we manage our habits. When we manage our habits, we manage our behaviors. And when we manage our behaviors, we get things done we want to get done.
We get done the things that we feel are priorities and not other people's priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's half the battle, isn't it? I don't want to do this because I've been told I should.
Yeah.
Says who?
Yeah, and it's all that that labeling. So, you can qualify when you're born, you're qualified as a man or a woman as such. Um, but but that's about it, you know. The rest of it isn't about like comparing from a space of like confusion and misunderstanding, and
Well,
I think it's yeah.
we develop so many layers of filters depending on the experiences we've had, which is
Yeah.
why two people can look at exactly the same situation and see entirely different things as a result of it, because we all have those different filters. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a joy to experience somebody else's filters from a sense of appreciation, not I'm right, you're wrong. Do you think
Exactly.
we could have a few politicians in that? Can we do a bit of education on that front, do you think? Walk away
Yeah.
from the politics, Wendy.
Oh, yeah, it's the those that are really also kind of they get to have that they get to have that courage as well. So, because can't necessarily work with anyone that isn't willing to like just have a go at things
Yes.
because it's that's where and I'm not saying that um, it's again making anyone right or wrong, but if someone's really struggling, then it's more therapy, that they could do with, because if they're really really stuck somewhere, and then there is a therapeutic value to what I do, but it's also a case of um, that the coaching is part of like, let's choose a project and work on it and
Yeah.
make it happen,
Yes.
and that could be
So that
the
you can
project
see some
could be
wins.
the health could be the project.
Yeah.
Yeah. So health, or what I call wealth, is in terms of richness of environment, relationships, and vocation, and all that stuff that's
Mm-hmm.
external to us,
Yeah.
is the wealth place. That's the way I like to describe it. They interlink in different ways, but um, and then the stealth is the let's focus on it, and who do you get support with along the way, and start practicing clear communication and all those things too, to make those things work out in the real world. um
Exciting.
yeah.
Stuff.
So that's yeah, I've got a year-long program that I'm launching, and I'm doing an event on the around that. Oh, this conversation will come out after that event's finished. Um, but that's not to say that I won't be having conversations with people around this stuff.
When is this launch? Because the thing is, if
11th
you've got
11th of May.
11th of May, right? Audience, we're recording this on the 30th of April, so it's coming up, but it will be in past tense by the time by the time it publishes. However, will you be recording that session, Rory?
Um, I'll record it. However, I'm not quite sure whether I'll keep it exclusive or not at this
Okay,
time.
fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
I'm
If you decide that it's going to be available to the general public, we can add that link into the show notes so that people can go back and check it out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's a case of that.
See how it feels. See how it
We're
feels.
gonna do a personalized approach. It's gonna be a 5 hour, half day
Oh,
deep dive training. So it's not just like
right.
it's not just a quick here. This is what I do kind of thing.
Got
This
you.
is like
Okay.
a let's work on some stuff and have
Then probably not.
personal personal stuff coming up. So, but yeah, so that's the event to sort of introduce the ideas and to
Mm.
really go through the frameworks of like it's like pick and mix, pick and choose your
Right.
health journey,
Yeah.
with visual with a visual representation of which patterns maybe are being less focused on or more focused on too
Mm.
much, because sometimes we
Mhm.
put too much energy into one thing and not enough energy into another. So you know, moving more and thinking less, for instance, as an idea, as a really
Yeah.
simple idea. Um,
Yeah.
so, but we were looking at all those patterns. There's 8 of them. Health, which is a bit breathing, moving, eating, sleeping as the obvious ones, and then thinking, feeling, expressing, and connecting, which are the more psychological patterns, which also can be just as tangibly grab holdable, which is fantastic to break through in this time going forwards.
With this program, is it individual? Is it a group program? How's it going to work out?
It's going to require some one-to-one individual transformational stuff to help people really clear out the s- the stories and shift their emotional patterns
Mm.
to get emotionally convicted to what they want to create in the world, and then using those projects as little um, sort of photo finishes to work on throughout a whole year. That could be health transformation, or it could be the putting a book out, or it could be a music album, or whatever it is, or something just for the self, or it could be for a business. So the whole thing is a whole all in one year long neurodivergent business or career development or and health development process to pick those goals and really go for them for the whole year. It's going to be really powerful. And
The
your
reason I was
question,
asking whether it was a group thing or not, forgive me butting in, was
yes,
whether or not, because if this podcast is being published after the event, if it's going to be a group thing, we've kind of missed the boat. But if what you're saying to me is that this is an individual program, people can jump in at any time.
yeah, so it's going to be group work as well, and
Group work as well.
I'm not too sure when I do another intake straight away. So
Okay.
so what I will say is that I'm going to see how it goes, because if there's an intake that's really well received, then I'll have to sort of shut down the doors for the however long it takes for me to put that stuff into practice. So some of it is becomes automated, because I want to automate some of the video trainings, but not at this point, because it's beta testing the whole thing. As it I've got the yeah, anyway, before we go on to more of a
Audience,
tangent.
what we're going to do with this one then is when this podcast comes out, check out the show notes, because Rory and I are going to talk in between and just
Yeah.
sort of tease a few things out as to how he wants to take this forward.
Mm.
So we've been kind of brainstorming online right now, but we will sort it out so the show notes are representative of where he's going after this fabulous, fabulous launch. I'm really
Yeah.
excited with you. Brilliant,
Amazing.
brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant.
really exciting.
As
Uh,
as we well, one of the other questions I've got for you is, how do you embody your words when you take them from page to stage?
how do I embody my words?
Yes.
Embody them.
Yes. Well, the thing is, this is page to stage.
Yeah.
So lots of people have written their words out, and then when they come to speak about them on stage, my question
Mm.
is, how do you bring the essence, the energy of those words when you start speaking about them?
You know, um, I've got a couple of different directions I go with that. Sometimes it's I just at this point haven't got to a point where I learn something um, scripted. from start
done
to finish.
like
So
scripting.
yeah, it's a good question. uh, I will dream up my content for it. If it's a thing that I want to do, a reel or a live, um, that day, I'll dream into a topic and then write it out. So
Mhm.
I've written it out, and then often I'll just, if I can, as soon as possible, just do it and just press go, and I just roll with it. And I have the topic, I have a question in my mind to say, and then roll with it because I practiced it, the formatting of running through introduction, talk about the subject, talk about the the going from the problem to the solution, and then or if that's necessary, and then a call to action of some kind,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
uh, often sometimes just for me. Sometimes it's just for me, but it's that point of like relaying the information. If it's on a podcast, I will practice the the speaking the stories part already again so
It's
much
it's that
before.
it's that having a sense of what it is, isn't it? Because I mean, some people they will do the framework idea. Some people will say, but I live it anyway. There's nothing special I do extra. Some people will go into a breathing pattern, and lots of people do things differently. So I was curious as to what your
Mm.
thing is. So what I'm hearing from
Oh
you,
yeah,
have a framework that you go
yeah.
with.
So there's the dreaming part, and there's EFT stuff too, which really helps to clear out any
As tapping,
struggles.
folks, the
Yeah,
emotional freedom technique. Just tap.
yeah,
Mhm. Cool.
yeah. And meditations and
Nice.
yeah, it's taken a while to actually learn how to be with whatever I'm experiencing without it making a meaning of myself.
Mhm.
So
Calming that
that's
brain, isn't it? The,
yeah.
the the constant busyness. Yeah, got you, got you. As we're
Oh
winding up, Rory, have
yes.
you any final words of wisdom that you can share with us?
Oh, um, we did. I did just wanted to mention
Oh,
the chapter of the book that I written. So
right.
it's that left to right, but it is written with lots of spaces. So it was
Mm-hmm.
written for neurodivergents to that don't you know don't like the crowdedness of the words on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's that explains that whole framework. It explains my holistic fitness pro- ways of going about things. That this is that year-long program, but it's got all the frameworks in it. So it's a real teaching resource for how to how to do it yourself in some ways, or start to at least get an idea of how to map things out and start
Oh,
reflecting on things. And I did what I call neurocreative leadership, which is taking responsibility for what we're creating with our mind and thoughts, not the output of creativity, but the creative process of just making decisions. So this diversity and celebrate our uniqueness on one side, inclusion wanting to and be treated as fairly equal and with
mhm.
equity on the other, and then the creativity is our choice to make that happen in the center. So neurocreativity, uh, to the take to take it all with flow, and that's so yeah, that's called Coaching Reimagined. It's
Okay.
again, it's on
That will
Amazon. It's on
also
Amazon.
that
Yeah.
will also be in the show notes, audience. So you have two bites of the
Yes.
cherry. You can go and have a look at Rory's solo work and his contributory work as well. And if you want to get an idea of what's going on in his program, because we've kind of missed the boat on this podcast, go and get that book. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. 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 And say when.
Oh, well, when? Courage.
Courage. So this is a way for me to transcend any negative mindset stuff. So it's a way for me to bring myself back to my own highest values. So I can pick this out when I'm feeling anxious. It's another way what you said about embodying words and just
Mhm.
coming back to what's important to me. And so what the uh, uh, it's written in black to organize, to plan courage in advance. So that's what we've been talking about in a lot of ways. So so yeah, what does that mean to you as well, Wendy?
Oh, what it means to me. It means actually we're going to have to finish this conversation because we're out of time.
Okay.
But
All
courage
right.
it's with heart. It's the
Yes.
courage. Going back to its original French etymology, and I love each other. But yes, it's having that. I don't really like the idea of this, but I'm going to take heart and I'm going to do it anyway. It's going back to the original face of fear and do it anyway, isn't it?
Mm,
With heart and with passion.
love it.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's what my final piece is. Remember what your highest values are in a lot of ways because they will overtake any self-doubt. As soon as I remind myself of something I've got really emotionally connected to, which helps my value systems. Like for instance, I pick one for myself. It's creating trust. Creating trust. As soon as I'm like, well, what am I trusting in? Oh, I was trusting in making that um, bullshit story up, and I get to like trust I get to trust in learning
Mhm.
what I'm doing right now. So what is that? I can reflect on it if it's something that's come out of me, or just take that action. And that's not the point. It's not to fight against fear and you should be fighting against fear and taking actions because that's not necessarily useful either.
Mhm.
So it is about the recognizing, refreshing, and rehearsing
Mhm.
to create the results we want in life.
You don't need to fight the fear. You just face it and go, okay, I see it. Let's do it. You can be the witness. Love it. Thank you so much, Rory. I have loved our conversation, and I'm sure we will meet again and have another one down the track when volume 2 comes out.
Yeah,
That'd be a good one.
amazing. Thanks,
Okay, Rory.
Wendy, for
Thank you
everything you
so much
do.
for sharing your from page to stage. For now, bye from us.